Fields across America, in the late summer and early autumn of 2025, were characterized by unprecedented vibrancy, as farmers entered a critical race against time to harvest their crops before adverse weather conditions arrived. This annual period sees American farmers diligently gathering millions of tons of fruits and vegetables. The success of this immense agricultural operation hinges on a combination of traditional labor, specialized machinery, and rapid transportation networks that deliver products globally. The harvest of fresh produce commences with crops vital for both domestic consumption and global export, demonstrating high levels of mechanization for efficiency. In the vast golden fields of Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota, the sweet corn harvest typically spans from July through October. This period represents the busiest time for both the farming community and the machines they utilize. Highly efficient harvesters move systematically down the rows, executing a complex series of actions in a single motion, cutting the stalks and stripping the ears. The harvested ears are then immediately sent via a conveyor belt directly into waiting containers. The scale of this operation is immense, as a single machine can perform the work equivalent to hundreds of laborers, covering dozens of hectares in just one day. In 2025, the United States anticipated harvesting nearly 6 billion ears of fresh corn. A significant portion of this yield is consumed domestically, while the remainder is swiftly transported to processing plants and export terminals to service markets worldwide. As autumn sets in, a spectacular visual transformation occurs in the marshlands of Wisconsin and Massachusetts, which turn into shimmering red seas. This spectacle marks the beginning of the cranberry harvest, which runs from September through November. To facilitate the harvest, farmers deliberately flood the bogs, causing the bright red berries to float to the surface. Specialized gathering machines then sweep the millions of floating cranberries together. From a distance, this process creates a breathtaking sight, resembling an endless crimson carpet. The collected fruit is subsequently pumped into trucks, washed, and delivered directly to factories where they are transformed into juice, sauces, and dried products. Cranberries are culturally significant, serving as a staple during the Thanksgiving season. In 2025, production was projected to reach 370,000 tons, with the majority originating from northern states. This output ensures the U.S. maintains its position as the world's leading cranberry supplier, accounting for more than half of the global supply. Many crops require a delicate touch, necessitating a strategic combination of mechanized efficiency for bulk collection and meticulous manual labor for high-quality produce. In the lush green bell pepper fields of California and Florida, the harvest season spans from May to November. Due to the bell pepper's thin, delicate skin, the harvesting process necessitates the integration of both manual labor and machinery. On large-scale farms, specialized harvesters cut and lift the peppers onto conveyors, where they are sorted immediately. Despite the use of modern equipment, many areas still rely on workers to hand-pick peppers, particularly those designated as premium quality for export. Each pepper is placed gently into baskets before being moved to packing facilities. This careful handling is crucial to ensure the peppers retain their glossy sheen and freshness throughout transport. In 2025, U.S. bell pepper production was estimated at approximately 500,000 tons, sufficient to supply massive domestic demand while also facilitating exports to significant markets in Europe and Canada. The table grape harvest in California's San Joaquin Valley, running from July through October, relies heavily on tens of thousands of seasonal workers. Because grapes are prone to bruising easily, the entirety of the harvesting process must be executed by hand. Workers utilize sharp shears to cut each bunch, inspect them thoroughly, and place them into cushion trays lined with protective paper. These trays are then moved without delay into cold storage facilities to lock in freshness for weeks. Speed and gentleness are paramount at every step to ensure the clusters remain beautiful and undamaged. In 2025, the U.S. anticipated harvesting over 2.2 billion pounds of table grapes, solidifying its status as one of the world's leading suppliers, especially to markets in Asia and Europe. California is the epicenter of America's strawberry production, growing over 90% of the nation's supply. The season runs long, from March through October, and draws tens of thousands of seasonal workers. Laborers walk the rows, carefully picking the ripe red berries by twisting the stems and placing them into plastic trays.
Crucially, once the trays are full, they are moved immediately into mobile cooling units situated right on the fields to preserve their freshness. For 2025, the U.S. was projected to harvest around 3 billion pounds of strawberries, a volume large enough to fill billions of cartons of both fresh fruit and processed products. This high output confirms America's position as the world's largest strawberry producer. The cantaloupe season in California and Arizona spans from June to September. The harvest begins when the rind changes color and emits a sweet aroma. Since the fruit is heavy, each melon must be cut from the vine using a small knife. Workers frequently operate in teams, passing the heavy melons hand to hand to the collection point. In 2025, U.S. cantaloupe production reached approximately 650,000 tons, representing nearly 7% of the global market. As a favored summer fruit, cantaloupes are enjoyed domestically and exported heavily to Canada and Mexico. Similarly, zucchini, a key summer vegetable, primarily grown in Florida and California, is harvested from May to September. The highest quality zucchini must be lean, young, and tender, which mandates that workers hand-pick the squash almost daily. Using small knives to cut the stems, they carefully place each squash into baskets and rapidly move them to cooling facilities. Given that the skin bruises easily, the entire process demands both speed and precision. The U.S. harvested over 661 million pounds of zucchini in 2025. This vegetable is a staple in everyday cooking and is also exported to Canada, a significant consumer market. In Oregon and Washington, pear season commences in late August and continues through October. The inherent thinness and delicacy of the pear's skin dictate that the fruit must be harvested entirely by hand. Workers often climb ladders, gently twisting each stem and carefully placing the fruit into padded baskets. The harvested pears are then moved directly into cold storage, where they are allowed to ripen before being offered for sale. In 2025, the U.S. was expected to harvest more than 1.3 billion pounds of pears. While most are consumed domestically, the remainder is exported to Mexico and Canada. Certain crops are characterized by large-scale mechanization designed for volume and efficiency, feeding major industrial sectors. Tall green sugarcane fields in Florida and Louisiana are harvested during the cooler months, from October to March. Massive machines navigate the rows, slicing the stalks, stripping the leaves, and loading the cane directly onto trucks in a single, continuous pass. This highly mechanized operation permits hundreds of hectares to be harvested within just a few days. Once cut, the cane is immediately rushed to mills where the juice is extracted for sugar production. Annually, the U.S. produces approximately 66 billion pounds of sugarcane, yielding over 15 billion pounds of refined sugar. This enormous supply is indispensable for the country's vast food and beverage industries, and it is also exported to nations across the Caribbean and Latin America. The California tomato harvest stretches from June through October. On vast fields spanning hundreds of hectares, specialized harvesters work day and night. These powerful machines cut entire plants, separate the ripe tomatoes, and load them onto conveyors. Sorting systems embedded in the machines efficiently remove green fruit and debris right on the spot. Every day, thousands of tons are collected and sent straight to processing plants. In 2025, U.S. tomato production was expected to surpass 10 million tons, supplying a major share of the global food processing industry. In Georgia and Alabama, peanut season runs from September to November. When the leaves signal readiness by turning yellow, specialized digger machines pull up the entire plant, flip it over, and leave it in the field to dry naturally for several days. Subsequently, combines strip the pods from the plants and collect them into storage bins. This fully mechanized process allows farmers to harvest hundreds of hectares rapidly. In 2025, U.S. peanut production was projected at 3 million tons, contributing over 10% of the global market. A substantial portion of this crop is processed into peanut butter, a favored American classic. This industry alone consumes over 4.1 billion pounds of peanuts annually, producing millions of jars of peanut butter for tens of millions of households. Sugar beets are harvested in Minnesota and North Dakota from September to November. Utilizing huge machines, farmers run across the fields, lifting the roots from the soil, shaking off the excess dirt, and loading them directly into trucks. The beets are then consolidated into massive mounds located near processing plants, awaiting extraction and refining. Within just days, hundreds of thousands of tons are collected. In 2025, the U.S. produced roughly 66 billion pounds of sugar beets, which supplies more than 55% of the nation's sugar. Beyond sugar beets, the U.S. is also recognized as one of the world's top onion producers. Onion harvests run from August through October, primarily concentrated in Idaho, Washington, and California. In 2025, output was expected to reach 3.5 million tons, placing the country among the world's top 5 producers. Onion harvesters are equipped with counter-rotating shafts, designed to loosen the bulbs beneath the soil. As rollers lift the onions onto conveyors, small holes in the belts automatically remove leftover leaves and excess dirt. California's walnut orchards experience their harvest season from September through November. The process is highly mechanized. Specialized shaker machines clamp onto the tree trunks and shake them vigorously, causing the nuts to fall directly to the ground. Immediately following, sweepers gather the nuts, remove the green husks, and send the kernels into drying systems. This process operates continuously, creating a bustling environment both day and night. In 2025, the U.S. was expected to harvest more than 1.5 billion pounds of walnuts, accounting for over 30% of global production. As a high-value export crop, walnuts generate billions of dollars in revenue. Across the plains of Texas, Nebraska, and Kansas, hay season runs from May to September. Large mowers cut the fields, leaving the grass to dry naturally under the sun for several days. Once sufficiently dry, balers roll or compress the hay into massive round or square bales, each weighing hundreds of kilograms. Trucks subsequently transport the bales into storage facilities, where they are preserved for use as livestock feed throughout the coming year. The U.S. produces more than 264 billion pounds of hay annually, leading the world in production and serving as the crucial backbone for its expansive beef and dairy industries. Grapes represent one of the world's most enduring and widely grown fruit crops. Viticulture itself boasts a history spanning more than 8,000 years, predating even the magnificent Egyptian pyramids. Since ancient times, people have mastered the techniques of constructing trellises and meticulously caring for individual vines to eventually harvest sweet clusters of grapes. Today, this fruit is central to a multi-million-dollar industry. Global cultivation and growth. Currently, there are over 18 million acres of vineyards across all continents. Leading grape-producing countries include China, Italy, France, Spain, and the United States.
Global annual production of grapes surpasses 70 million tons. Achieving these figures involves a long cultivation process that demands meticulousness and a profound understanding of the natural characteristics of the grapevine. Farmers typically begin by selecting healthy cuttings that are 1 to 2 years old and possess 3 to 5 dormant buds. The vines are then planted, and the canes are trained to grow up the trellis system. Spacing is precisely controlled, usually 6 to 10 feet between rows and 6 to 8 feet between plants within the same row. On average, farmers aim to plant about 900 grapevines per acre to ensure optimal yield and quality. Throughout their life cycle, grapevines require sufficient water and nutrients. They typically need about an inch of water per week during the growing season and are fertilized regularly. Pruning is critically important. From the first year, farmers cut off all but 2 living buds to concentrate the plant's energy on developing a strong root system. In the spring, when new canes emerge, leaves are thinned out to focus nutrients on the main canes, while young shoots growing at the base are removed. Pruning continues into the summer to prevent the foliage from becoming excessively dense, which could otherwise make the plants susceptible to fungal diseases. The flowering and fruiting process typically begins in late spring to early summer. Grapes flower around May to June, producing tiny clusters of flowers. Following pollination, these flowers develop into fruit throughout the summer. This is also the critical stage where pesticides must be applied to protect the grapes from various pests and aphids. As the grapes mature, their color transitions from green to red, purple, or yellow, depending on the specific variety. This ripening process spans 2 to 3 months, culminating in full ripeness in late summer or early autumn. The exact timing of the harvest varies depending on the intended use of the grapes. For table grapes, farmers usually harvest when the fruit is fully ripe to ensure the preservation of its natural sweet flavor. Conversely, wine grapes are harvested based on careful monitoring of their sugar and acid levels, which is vital for ensuring a balanced flavor profile essential for the fermentation process. In traditional vineyards, harvesting is frequently performed by hand.
Farmers use scissors meticulously to cut each cluster. Every movement requires skill and precision, as a single incorrect cut can result in bruising or cause ripe grapes to fall. Once cut, the grape clusters are collected and placed into containers. Although this method is highly labor-intensive, its benefit lies in preserving the quality and aesthetic shape of every grape cluster. However, in large commercial vineyards, the manual method often fails to meet the required output levels and tight timelines. In these settings, specialized machinery becomes the optimal solution. Grape harvesting machines are engineered with a U-shaped frame designed to wrap around the vine. Mechanical arms then gently shake the vine, causing the ripe clusters to fall onto a collection tray situated below. Unlike human labor, these machines can operate continuously, day and night, significantly boosting productivity. Despite continuous efforts by farmers to grow and harvest grapes more efficiently, unpredictable weather changes pose a difficult challenge. Rising global temperatures cause grapes to ripen more quickly, which results in an increase in sugar content while simultaneously decreasing the acid level. This alteration directly compromises the quality of the grapes, particularly those destined for winemaking. In response to the effects of climate change, grape cultivation has been expanding into formerly unsuitable cooler climates. Areas in northern France, Germany, and even regions like England and Denmark now offer more favorable conditions for grapes to ripen evenly and achieve high quality. Immediately after harvesting, grapes must be stored in a cool, dry place to extend their shelf life and maintain quality before entering various processing procedures. For fresh table grapes, large and visually perfect fruits are carefully selected and packed into sturdy cardboard boxes.
These boxes are strategically arranged to minimize bruising, guaranteeing that consumers receive the most perfect grapes possible. Raisins constitute a very popular processed grape product, with global consumption amounting to about 1.1 million tons per year. The most common variety used is the Thompson seedless, known for being small, sweet, and naturally seedless. There are two primary production methods: sun-drying and mechanical drying. With the traditional method, grapes are spread out on paper and dried under the direct sunlight. However, this method can generate significant amounts of dust, which not only affects food hygiene standards, but also poses a health risk to workers' respiratory systems. To mitigate these problems, modern approaches involve hanging the grapes on trellises within sheds. These sheds incorporate small, interwoven gaps that both reduce dust and allow the grapes to dry naturally under the sunlight. Within approximately 4 to 5 days, the grapes gradually change color from green to brown, shrinking to about a quarter of their original size, developing a rich, sometimes slightly caramelized flavor. The mechanical drying method offers faster and more uniform results. Before the drying process, the grapes are typically treated with sulfur dioxide gas to help preserve their color. They are then placed into a dryer operating at a temperature of around 135 degrees Fahrenheit. In just 18 to 24 hours, the grapes transform into raisins, ready for packaging. The key advantage of this method is the assurance of stable color and moisture content, and it permits year-round production to meet continuous global market demand. Grape juice is another widely consumed product. The initial step involves gently washing the grapes to remove dirt and impurities. Next, workers on a conveyor belt carefully remove any green, unripe, or damaged grapes. The grapes are then gently crushed, releasing the pulp and juice to create a mixture known as must. The must is subsequently put into a press with controlled pressure. This regulation is essential to avoid extracting bitter compounds from the seeds or skins. The juice is then separated from the pulp and skin residue using a filtering system or a centrifuge. At this stage, the juice is often still cloudy due to the presence of suspended particles, necessitating a subsequent filtration process to achieve the desired clarity. The next crucial step is pasteurization, where the juice is rapidly heated to about 185 degrees Fahrenheit and then immediately cooled. This rapid cooling process preserves the full flavor and nutritional value of the juice. The finished juice is transferred to a modern bottling line capable of completing thousands of products per hour. The bottles are sealed, labeled, and then stored under controlled temperatures ranging from 50 to 69 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the final step before the product is distributed to global consumers. According to forecasts, the global grape juice market is expected to grow by an additional $561.1 million during the 2025 to 2029 period. The journey of the grape, from the globally spanning vineyards through the diligent hands of farmers to modern processing lines, stands as a vivid testament to the successful combination of traditional labor and scientific progress. The vast American harvest, encompassing everything from sweet corn and strawberries to peanuts and specialized root crops, highlights an industry defined by incredible scale and precision. Today, faced with the twin challenges of climate change and surging market demand, the entire agricultural and processing sector is constantly adapting to ensure sustained quality and supply. The efficiency required to handle harvests, whether the mechanical might needed for millions of tons of tomatoes or the gentle, quick hands required for pears and table grapes, illustrates the complex, dynamic nature of modern food production.